I'm Scott Fishman.
I'm John Dwoskin.
And this is the 7-Minute Salesman.
Welcome, everybody.
Good morning, John.
Good morning, Fish. How are you?
Doing great, man. I think we got a doozy of a show today.
I think we got a doozy too. And I hope that the listeners are ready to be dozed.
Let's do this.
Let's doze it. All right. Kick us off.
So, folks, thanks again for listening. I want to get a little bit of housekeeping out of the way before we go too far. We got some good listener questions that we addressed the last couple of weeks. Please keep them coming. We like this stuff. In our next season, we want to make sure we attack that a little bit harder as well. We want to hear from you, and we want to make sure that we're giving you relevant information that is something that you can use and is timely and actionable right away. So as far as the topic today, let's take a look at what we're going to be talking about, John. Right now, it's October, right?
Yeah.
All right. So
2018.
What comes after October?
November.
And what comes after November?
December.
Right. And then we start over, right?
And then we rinse, repeat, and it's time to literally start all over.
Right. So looking at where we are standing right now, we don't have a lot of time to really make a difference and make a mark on the rest of our year. We have to get our asses in gear.
Yeah. I mean, big time. I mean, and when you look at, there's about 30 business days till Thanksgiving.
Wow.
Yeah. Give or take.
Wow. And as we're sitting here talking about Thanksgiving, just give us a plug, or we'll give a plug for our special Gobble Up More Businesses holiday season episode from season 1, actually.
Wow.
So 30 business days till November or till Thanksgiving. What does that mean? Like, why is that important?
Well, it's important because as salespeople, we got to start really looking at our pipeline and our business with different lenses, and we got to kick it up. We got to kick it up because we don't have a lot of time to close the deals that are in our pipeline. We have to anticipate those deals that are going to maybe slip to next quarter or next year. And we have to anticipate how we're looking at Q1 of 2019 and how we can maybe squeeze that in Q4 and what we got to do to make that happen. And we got to kick it up. However we are working, we got to bring it up, whether that's 5%, 10%, 20%. Right now is the time we talk about a lot on the show about sales and business. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Right now, it's a sprint.
Yes, it is. And at times like this, I remember years ago when I first got into the mortgage business, literally starting Halloween, it became party season. You know, it was always like, okay, what company is throwing some party where we can go have a couple free drinks and some appetizers after work? And people take their foot off the gas. So even if we want to work our asses off to finish off our year, we're at the mercy sometimes of our customers and our prospects. So we need to find ways to keep them motivated, and get them wanting to do business before the end of the year. We have to give them incentives and reasons. It doesn't have to be a discount when I say incentive, but we have to incentivize it in some way for them, like getting in before the first of the year when everyone else wakes up and decides they need to change something. Things like that. We need to make sure that we incentivize our prospects to do business with us because they get lazy.
Right. So we can't be lazy. It is. I agree with everything you just said, and it's hard not to get a little lazy and a little complacent during these next couple months. So what do we do? Let's talk about. Let's just kind of go. Maybe give a couple steps, couple ideas, couple concepts.
Well, first, I would take a 10,000-foot view. I'd say, okay, today is October 7th, 2018. Here's where I need to be by the end of the year, and kind of broad stroke it out. And see, I would actually even maybe give a weighted average or weight the dates a little bit. So if I know that Thanksgiving week is going to be a little bit less busy, I'm going to go ahead and maybe not count that as a full week. I might take an extra day off that when I'm planning my goals out, if that makes sense. Like if I'm saying, every other week has 5 business days, that week really has 4. I might count it as 3. So that way I'm not counting on that Friday, which is now lazy American holiday.
Right. I love it. I think that's smart.
Well, thanks.
Yeah. You're welcome. So I'm going to say that while you're doing that, every salesperson who's listening / in the world, really prune your pipeline. Get a realistic pipeline. What does your pipeline look like? What's really realistic? Forecast appropriately, and things that are going to push it out to the appropriate date. So you are looking at a very specific, detailed business that you're going to bring in, and then the strategy behind each of those, and how you're going to firm that up. What's the strategy to get what's in the pipeline and clean in the door, prune everything out. I think also another thing is that we need to map out our what I'll call a full day, a half day, and a micro day, meaning things happen. And so I'd like every salesperson to be prepared to understand what each of those days and the structure looks like, and the top 3 leading specific measurable activities that you are going to do on those days. It's very common that for salespeople, they're going to come in and then their day just goes haywire because maybe a deal does this or a deal does this. That's okay. But know what your specific leading and measurable activities are, whether it's calls, proposals, whatever it is. But put those at the top of the list and have the structure of your days so you can pull it out of your drawer and know how you got to kind of make your day happen.
I get it. I'm with you on that. You mentioned something about pruning. I'm big on that. When you think about what we do on a daily basis, we've talked about it before, where actually if you're going to do it, make sure it counts, do it right. If it's worth doing, it's worth doing right. So if you find that you've got these prospects that are in your pipeline that in your heart of hearts aren't going anywhere, call them, email them, text them, get in contact with them, give them kind of not an ultimatum, but is this something you really are doing, or should I be putting this off to a later date for you? Because if we're just calling someone to call someone and we're doing nothing but wasting our time and we look desperate.
Yeah.
So keeping that pipeline pruned is very big in my eyes, for sure. Yeah. And also touching on the micro day. I love that, how you're breaking it down, not just into, a day, a week. You're actually taking your day and then putting that in more bite-sized chunks. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's really effective. And I just want to comment on something you just said. It's very easy to keep a flush pipeline so you just feel good about what you did or what you're doing, or that all your hard work is paying off. But be realistic with yourself, because as salespeople, and we've talked about this a billion times on the show, Fish, you got to enjoy the small wins. And so even though you think like looking at a flush pipeline may make you feel good in the moment, it really is going to make you feel shitty. Because as you get closer to realize what's not going to happen, and it just doesn't feel good. So prune it out. Even if it takes it down to one deal, at least it's going to hyper focus you on how you got to sprint the next 30, 40 business days. And I'm telling you, I see it happen all the time. I mean, I remember it happening with me when I was in real estate or in the internet business. And as soon as you prune, you just start becoming more effective, because it opens up space in your mind and your brain and your pipeline, and you start to focus on really what you need to do and what matters most.
Right. And along those same lines, kind of like I was saying, is that if I'm going to call you and say, hey, John, I know I've called you every week for the last 7 weeks, every Tuesday morning at 10 a.m., because I know that's your best time where you told me you're available. We haven't moved forward on anything. Tell me this. Is this something you're actually going to do? Or are we going to kind of maybe look at this in the future? Or should I never call you again? I'm fine with any of those options. Just let me know. I don't want to bother you. And also, I feel like we're wasting a little bit of time on both ends, and I don't want to do that. Your time is valuable.
And that takes a lot of courage to do. And so I'm going to encourage salespeople to role play that. Don't practice on the field, but really role play that and be ready to just make that call, because a little bit of courage goes a long way.
Right. And I think at the end of the day, I see that as almost a close. Not even almost. I see that as a close.
Yeah.
Because what's going to come up from that? You're either going to tell me, you know what, Scott, I've been super busy. I had a deadline I had to meet on my end that I didn't tell you about. or, my wife and I have been, trying to have a baby and it's finally going to happen, or something.
Yeah.
There's these things that happen and you never know what's going on the other end. But what are the other options that could happen? You're either telling me exactly why you haven't moved forward, so then I know what objection I have to overcome. You're telling me that you're shelving this completely, that, you weren't actually, you shouldn't have looked at this to begin with, or you're going to tell me, get lost, chump. I'm never doing this.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It really is.
I think that's worth talking about for a little bit longer, because as long as you do it with the right intent, with the right tone, it's real, it's authentic. There's no negativity or chip on your shoulder or annoyance or, it's, to me, I always looked at sales as, it's not the client or the prospect's responsibility to call me back. I mean, I hope they do, but it's my responsibility to call them.
Right.
And so as long as you are positive and energetic and, you don't sound like you're annoyed or pissed off, they'll tell you. It's having an adult conversation with one, person or company with another. So just make it real, and just, don't be irritated when you make that call. And, I think a lot of people sometimes are, they call and they're irritated. Don't be irritated. Just be yourself and be real. And like you just said, they'll tell you and open up. Hey, I was trying to have a baby and da-da-da. Thanks for calling. Thanks for understanding. But just that's the best tip that came out of today.
I like that.
Yeah.
And also at the same time, you can make a joke out of it too. When we're saying like, don't be a jerk about it, gosh, John, I feel like a jerk. I'm calling you every single day and we're not getting anywhere. Tell me what am I missing? How am I not doing my job right? Just help me help you.
Right.
And leave it out there. Like,
yep.
I think we don't need to beat this horse too much further on that one, but it's so true. And the clean pipeline is also going to help you. At the end of the day, I would much rather have more free time to actually work on and in the business.
Yeah.
Than just twiddle my thumbs calling the same people just because it feels good that I can say that I made however many dials or I sent however many emails or proposals blindly.
Yeah. And I would like to throw out a challenge to the listeners. Whatever you're doing, pick a percentage. I'm not going to give you a percentage, but pick a percentage. I'm gonna do. I'm gonna work 10% harder, 20% harder. I'm gonna make 15 more calls a week. I'm gonna get 2 more proposals a week, because right now, while everyone else is starting to be lazy, I'm not going to be.
Right. So I want to touch on this a little bit. Today's the 7th. So what day is Halloween? Is it Wednesday?
It is October, obviously 31st, and it is Wednesday. Yeah.
Okay. So just kind of looking at where we're going and how we have to run our business throughout the rest of the year. So luckily, October, we have a lot of business days, right?
Yeah.
But
18 business.
I think we have 23 business days in October.
18 left. 18 left.
Yes. So we have a lot of business days. There's a lot of days to do business, but most of us, or many of us, are on monthly continuums, right?
Yeah.
So month end is on Halloween. And what happens on Halloween? Kids go trick-or-treating. People go home early to get their kids ready. People go home early to get their houses ready so they could pass out candy. People cut out early on Halloween.
Yeah.
So you have a business that you're running and you have a month-end continuum that you have to hit, or a month-end deadline, you better freaking hit that on the 30th, pal, not the 31st.
Right?
So let's take that a step further. As we're talking about finishing our months, Thanksgiving, it's the last Thursday of November, right?
Yep.
So we have people stop working at Thanksgiving. So a lot of our prospects and our clients are not on monthly deadlines and continuums like we are.
Actually, second to last Thursday of the month.
Second to last Thursday. Okay, yeah. I'm sorry. So we have that date. What date is it?
The 22nd.
So the 22nd. So it's early this month.
Yeah.
That's actually, to me, a blessing, because that means the 22nd. The 23rd is fake shopping holiday day. And then I'm sure Amazon's going to throw a holiday in there somewhere for us as a surprise. So we have, I guess, a few extra days after the holiday. Yeah. In November. Like a lot of times, like you're hitting Thanksgiving, then your November's done. So don't count on those days though. I would actually aim my goal for the 22nd, try to be done with work, and then anything I get after Thanksgiving can be gravy.
Yeah. And I also, Fish, the average American gains 8 to 10 pounds from Thanksgiving to Christmas. So people are going to be foggy the last week of November. They're going to be eating like crazy.
That's great.
So, but I agree with you. I mean, project and forecast,
Yeah.
and then reverse engineer what you got to do to be effective, so you can stay ahead of the game and not fall behind.
Yes. John, you know what's funny about this stuff is I talk about things that I do, and I don't know the common or the preferred nomenclature for a lot of these things. So I'm like, yeah, you should do this. This is something I do. And you're like, yeah, that's projecting and forecasting, dipshit. Like, I think that's one of the reasons why we're a good match here.
Well, that's funny too, because I love how you break it down. Like, cause sometimes I'll just say forecasting and projecting, but I like the way you, you kind of describe it. So we're a good team, Fish.
Yes. And then, we're talking about the Thanksgiving thing. Then we have Christmas, right? And that's when it gets a little bit weird.
Yeah.
December is a little bit nutty because holiday parties start. People, start to like cut out. It's cold. People don't want to get out of bed, so they call in sick, or they, people are not working as hard at all. Well, they have their stuff to hit on their end too.
Absolutely. And really, you only have in December a good, maybe I would say 13 or 14 business days. Because you got the first week in December, the second week in December, the third week in December is the Wednesday's the 19th. People are going to start getting out the 20th, 21st, because Christmas Eve is that Monday of the following week. Christmas is on a Tuesday. And then it's, the rest of the year, which most people will be traveling.
Right. And I'll tell you something, folks. This is a sales manager in me coming out, but this is 100% true. Not everyone gives up and stops working. I've written mortgages for people on Christmas Eve. I've done business with people on New Year's Eve. You don't have to give up. It might get a little bit harder to get people on the phone and get people to jump, but people still do business. Not everybody gives up. So if you are behind your goal and you find yourself a little bit behind the 8 ball, put a little bit of extra time. Shoot out a mass text or email. Let your prospects know, hey, I'm in the office today until 5 p.m. because I've got some clients that need help. What can I do for you today? Let them know that you're there. You'd be amazed. People are like, you know what? Everyone left my office. I'm here doing nothing. Let's go. Let's rock.
Yeah, I love that. And if anything, it's also just, for marketing purposes too. It really shows how hardworking you are and that you're always there for your clients.
I like it.
Yeah. Yeah. What else, Fish? I think this was a good episode. We had a lot of quality advice and wisdom today. And what else should we talk about?
John, I think I use the term beating a dead horse earlier. I don't want this horse to get, flogged any further. I think we've gotten our point across here.
Yeah.
The whole idea, guys, is, put your head up, figure out where you need to be cognizant. Don't let the business attack you, attack the business. Get ahead of the game.
I love it. Be smart, have fun, and we'll talk to you guys next week.
Yes. In the season finale of season 9 of the 7-Minute Sales Minute.
Yes. You are going to learn something that is going to blow your mind.
Next week on the 7 Minutes. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Thanks, everybody, for listening. Now, no excuses. It's time to put everything you listen to into action. Stop bullshitting yourself. Stop lying to yourself. Stop listening and doing nothing with this information. Take this information, implement it into your day, kick some ass, grow your business, grow your sales, make more money, have more fun, have a better life, period, the end.
What he said.